This is Kits and Wagers. I'm Adam Zdroik, joined by Chris Owen to talk to you on another early Thursday morning. We're talking Gameweek 21. Chris, are you awake for this beautiful show?
Got a big cup of coffee going. Yes, I'm awake. I just tried to plow a little bit of breakfast into myself here before we started to talk. But yeah, we've once again had another interesting week in the Premier League. We had for moments yesterday. It looked like Man United was going to go above City in the table. Thought that was interesting. And then Elise hit a pretty nice free kick yesterday to make that match 1-1. But yeah, the table's looking interesting. Arsenal, of course, up 8 points. And then you've got the two Manchester teams. And then Newcastle looking like a really strong candidate for the Champions League next season. And of course, we've got a couple mid-table sides that we're going to get into, and that's Liverpool and Chelsea later. But yeah, a lot going on in here. And then we have another big match that we're not going to talk about today, but got Man City Tottenham here this afternoon, I believe.
Yep. So would you take Arsenal? I'm seeing here minus 125. You can find this at PointsBet right now to win the league, up 8 points. Would you take that?
I think so. I don't see why not. I mean, they look so much better than everybody else. 8 points. I mean, we're midway through the season right now.
If this was Manchester City up 8 points, it would be like minus 400.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. City, credit to them, always for the past 5 Premier League titles, they always look super good. They're the deepest team because they can invest the most amount of money in their team. But they haven't, they don't look like the City teams of the past. I mean, that could always change. They could always turn it on and really, put the pressure on Arsenal here. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be intrigued in taking it here. You're still getting good odds. You get a good return. Why not?
Yeah, it just seems like minus 125 is almost too good to pass up. I know it was a couple weeks ago. It was better than that because, City have dropped points, but these teams play each other in a couple weeks. Arsenal host Manchester City, and you got to think that if Arsenal beat Manchester United, these odds might move up a little more. And then they're also getting Manchester City, who are kind of struggling at the moment. We'll see what they look like against Tottenham, but they just haven't looked that good coming out of the World Cup break. So it's like Arsenal are, for now, it seems like they're kind of getting Man City on like kind of a downtrend right now. So if Arsenal can beat Manchester United and then beat Manchester City in 2 home matches, this should be minus 300 in a couple weeks if that happens. Of course, that has to happen, but
Are you giving Manchester United any shot? Any long week? I mean, those odds are what, 2,200? Are you giving that any thought as a deep?
I mean, I'd rather take that than Manchester City, but just like the fact that they just dropped points they just dropped a couple points against Crystal Palace, and then I think we're both on the Arsenal side. We'll get into that in a little bit. We're both on Arsenal for this game, so
yeah.
I mean, if that's the case, then we could probably wait on this and it'd be plus 3,000 after they lose to Arsenal, kind of a thing. So, but I mean, they're playing well. It's just I'm not sure the goal scoring, the consistent goal scoring that you have with like Arsenal and Man City is there for Manchester United. They dominated Crystal Palace pretty much for 90 minutes. And it was kind of their fault for not going up more than 1 goal. And then they allowed that late one on a set piece. And that's just kind of things that happens to teams that don't finish first place, I guess.
Yeah, totally. It'll be interesting. Of the 3, give me Arsenal minus 125. I would take that.
Yeah. I mean, seems like a pretty good number here.
Yeah.
So, first match we're talking about, we got Liverpool at home against Chelsea, 2 struggling sides. We can look at the odds here. Liverpool have gone from minus 140 about, 10 days ago or so, January 4th, 15 days ago, minus 140. They're now down to minus 115 to win this match at home. Chelsea are plus 320. Draw is plus 275. And then over 2.5 goals, minus 140. Under 2.5 goals, plus 115. So you went against Liverpool last week. They got smoked against Brighton. And Chelsea, what did they do? They beat someone 1-0. They snuck away with a win. So, uh, what do you think is going to happen in this match? Two struggling,
Hilarious.
really.
Yeah, hilarious that we have to typically this would be like, oh, top four matchup, European implications, all that good stuff. And we're just talking two mid-table sides here right now in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a match of two of the most underwhelming teams out there. But yeah, Chelsea. I mean, the news here: Chelsea just picked up Mudryk from he was in
Shakhtar.
Shakhtar Donetsk.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he comes on, it's likely as a sub. He fits the mold of like the 7 other attacking midfielders, wingers that Chelsea have available. So interesting bit of business there, and maybe not the piece that they needed. But and then they also got the defender, Badiashile, I want to say.
Yeah, Badiashile, yeah.
Yeah,
He
he
started
yeah.
against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, so they got the 1-0 against Crystal Palace over the weekend, and he looked pretty good. So that was a nice addition. Meanwhile, Liverpool haven't really added anybody. I mean, they got Gakpo, who's been getting minutes, but hasn't necessarily impressed. I'm interested to see who they bring on in the midfield of this game. The old guard of Fabinho, Jordan Henderson, and Thiago should always have his place in the team, just given as how good he is. But like I think it's Steven Bacic. He's been playing some minutes at holding midfield for them, so I wouldn't be surprised if Klopp's like, all right, we need some legs.
He started against Wolverhampton. I think it was that Tuesday.
Yeah, he did. He played. I thought, I watched most of that, and he played pretty well. So wouldn't be surprised to see him come in. I don't, aside from all that, I don't know why the line's gone down to -115 for Liverpool. Yeah, they're playing at home, but I mean, a 1-0 win where they look good in the first half, a little shakier in the second half against Wolves. But like it's just like I don't know why they're getting the benefit of the doubt. When you look at their previous results, of course they had the 2 cup final games last year, both 0-0. So I wonder if we'll see something similar to that. And then it's been 2-2, 1-1, and then Chelsea won in March of 21. So it's like I don't Liverpool getting pretty good odds here. I'm just going to avoid that completely. There's nothing that we've seen. I mean, you could say this for both teams, but nothing that we've seen from either team where it's like, okay, they're back. The engine's revving. They can take down this team. So that's why I'm going to go double chance. You're actually getting pretty good odds on Chelsea here. Double chance at Anfield, so a little risky, but -105 on the double chance for Chelsea. So I won against Liverpool last week, and nothing. There wasn't anything that happened in that game for me to change my mind about how they're playing. So let's roll with Chelsea again here.
Yeah, 2 struggling sides. I'd even look at the prior results when I put my bet in. But if you're looking on the screen, I got under 2.5 goals. That's +115. You said the 2 cup games last year were scoreless. So, I mean, you just look at what these teams have done. It feels like these odds, the over/under, is kind of based off of, I don't know, early season or prior season form for these teams. This Liverpool team is just they're not playing the same way that they have in past seasons. It's like the goals are not coming for them. I know Salah has been healthy, but it just hasn't been happening. Like in that Wolverhampton match, they won 1-0. I can't remember what their XG was because the only goal was that Harvey Elliott goal early in the game. It came out of nothing really. But they just really haven't been looking that good. There's a chance Darwin Nunez is back in there, and he helps. I'm just not sure that actually produces goals against Chelsea. And I think both teams are kind of, compared to what we've seen before from these teams, I think it's going to be a little tentative from both sides. And I think the goals will just be hard to come by. I know Van Dijk's still out and all that, but I mean, are we sure Chelsea are going to score? Are we sure Liverpool are going to score? I don't think you can say that for either one of these sides. So I'll just take under 2.5, and you're in plus odds on it.
Yeah, I mean, of the one match in the past, there's one match in the past, like 8 matches here where they've been over 2.5 goals. So, the history says that there's not going to be a ton of goals, but yeah, no Van Dijk. Chelsea are fine defensively. I'm interested to see who starts for them, given they got a new player in. They've started a couple different guys, but yeah, I like the under here as well.
Yeah, Chelsea are Graham Potter's continuing to tweak what he's
Yeah,
been doing, and like they added Felix. He got a red card in his first game, so well, they went to Gallagher. Lewis Hall's been starting at left back, so it's been a mix of what they're doing, and then Liverpool have been trying to get some healthy forwards going, which they haven't been able to.
yeah,
Obviously, Chamberlain's been starting a bunch. Carvalho started against Wolverhampton, so you got some questions on both sides, but I think this is. I think. I mean, we could be looking at like a 1-1 draw, or I wouldn't be surprised if it was a scoreless draw. It seems kind of weird to say for a Liverpool match, but a scoreless draw it feels like it's in play here.
yeah, definitely. It'll be if Nunez gives them a little boost, but yeah, no Van Dyke in the middle, asking a lot from Joel Matip and Kanate.
Yeah. The next match, the match between the actual teams near the top of the table, we got Arsenal are at home. They're minus 115. Manchester United plus 300. That's to win. Draw is plus 275. Over 2.5 goals is minus 145. Under 2.5 goals plus 115. So the odds are kind of fairly similar. Are these almost exactly the same as the Liverpool match? Pretty
Yeah,
similar.
yeah,
So
pretty much they are essentially.
they
Um,
are. They're
yeah,
exactly the same. So
yeah.
there you go.
So I think you can get Man United double chance too here. But the big thing for me in this match is that Casemiro is going to be suspended. He picked up his whatever is that sixth or fifth
It would
yellow
have been
card,
his fifth. Yeah.
seventh. I don't know. It was a lot, but I think he's out for this one because he late in the match he was literally they had just prepared Fred to come on against Crystal Palace yesterday, and then of course Casemiro just goes out and just like scissor kicks Wilfred Zaha to pick up the yellow and get suspended. It was like just a comedy of things happening there. But yeah, I mean he's a big miss for them. And despite United had won, I believe was it 9 straight prior to that draw with Crystal Palace, so they were the one, if not the hottest, one of the hottest teams in the Premier League. That's across all competitions, but yeah, and Arsenal, the way they're playing, I was trying to find our article of it's on RotoWire. We have our records for each club, and I feel like earlier in the season I was doing okay with United and Arsenal, but I just think that the way Arsenal are playing, I've taken the money line a couple times this year, and it's worked out. So I'm gonna stick with this and go Arsenal money line minus 115 here against a United team without Casemiro. So.
Yeah, I pulled up the records here. Chris, we are combined 11-6 in Arsenal games. You're
3 and 4.
3-4 in Manchester United games. I am after last week's victory.
8-0.
I am now 8-0 in Manchester United
Yeah.
games. There's
Wow.
a lot of pressure on this one.
There is a tub.
I forgot I was gonna look back and see what we bet for this reverse fixture between these teams because I assume we talked about it, but Chris has taken the Arsenal side. That was my bet, and I figured that Chris was going to be on Arsenal again, and I'm giving it to him because he took Arsenal in the over the weekend and it hit. So I'll give it to him again. So, but
Very, very gracious of you, Adam.
I had this in my pocket under 4.5 corners in the first half. That's plus 105 odds. And I got a few of these bets, a few matches that I pointed out for this week. I think one of them is actually in our team parlay, but under 4.5 corners in the first half. I think this is going to be. I mean, Casemiro's out, so we'll see what Manchester United look like. Like, is Fred going to
Fred
start
and
there?
Fred,
Is
Fred
McTominay
McTominay.
going to start? Yeah, so that'll be something to keep an eye on. Is Weghorst going to get another start for Manchester United? I'm not sure how much that matters, but usually you have these top teams playing against each other. It's usually right away the first 45. It's usually not back and forth to where there's a ton of things going on. I think I look back at the last game. There's maybe only 2 or 3 corners in the first half, but I mean you're getting plus odds on this, and Arsenal at home, and they usually, for the most part, they're usually on the front foot right from the start of the match. So it'll be interesting to see how Manchester United play that. I think it'll just be fairly safe overall. I know there's goals in that last meeting, but what was it? should have kept this up. I think it was 7 corners total in the last meeting, and I think that was a 3-1 result. So not that it's going to happen again, but yeah, let's just go with it. You're riding Arsenal. I'm taking slow match in the first half, under 4.5 corners, plus 105. So there you go.
Yes. The corners and wagers continues to live on.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to die. I
Nope.
found a weakness in the betting market and just capitalizing here.
Yeah, we didn't even reference your record here. 35-16. Up if you $100 bets up 2,200. So plus our parlays are up now.
Yeah, it's been a solid run. I think. I mean, that includes the 0-3 week I had a little bit ago, and that was when I had to move off bets because we had the same one. So I'm kind of 37 and 14 here, which is
I'll
even
take
crazier.
responsibility for that week.
Though you went 4-0 that week, so we'll give that one to you.
Okay.
So we got Monday Night Football for this next one, and looks like the odds have gone a little different here. For some reason, Fulham is getting less money. I'm not sure anything happened, but we got Fulham. They are home. They're plus 220 to win. Tottenham are plus 110. Draws plus 275. I say that the odds have moved because Fulham about 15 days ago they're plus 185 to win. So it seems like Tottenham are getting money. I don't know why. I don't think there's injuries we have to worry about. Mitrovic already served his suspension, so we got over 2.5 goals minus 135, under 2.5 goals plus 105. I guess maybe some of that is Kulishevsky's back and Bentancur will be available. I'm not sure he's going to be ready to start. So I guess Tottenham are getting their guys back. Is that enough for you to back Tottenham though?
I don't know if I'm going to go out and outright back Tottenham, but it's crazy how good Fulham are playing over the past month or so, and they find themselves. This match is what we thought the Chelsea Liverpool match would be. A fight for two teams fighting for European places right now. I believe Fulham's sixth and Tottenham's fifth. So yeah, two teams right next to each other on the side. Fulham could go up a point here on Tottenham in the table if they do pull 3 points out of it. I don't know that I really feel comfortable betting on this one specifically from like a money line perspective, but I do think that looking at some of the previous results here, I do think we'll see. I think I'm going to go both teams to score, no draw. I think one of the teams will come away with points here, and so this is a tough one just because we're not used to seeing Fulham this high. They easily could have gotten a point out of that game with Newcastle last week too, but that was like the weirdest occurrence of a penalty I've ever seen. The Mitrovic double hit, flips a little bit, his foot goes out, he hits his other foot and goes in. That was odd, but yeah. So I'm gonna go. Aside from all that, I feel comfortable more so on this one betting. There's I guess both teams to score, no draws, plus 130, and then backup bet here. We do have the Mr. Harry Kane at plus 105 anytime goal scoring odds.
Yeah, both teams score no draw. That seems to be happening a lot in Tottenham matches, and it's happened a good amount, I think, in Fulham matches as well. So, plus 130? I always think that's one of the harder bets to take because you're already asking for the over 2.5 goals. You're asking for at least 3 goals, and then you're also asking for it not to be 2-2.
Yeah.
That's always my main worry, but I think I like this one here because I think they're going to be goals. As you can see in my bet, I'm taking Fulham to score first. Before the Crystal Palace match, there's 10 straight matches where Tottenham opponents scored first. And that's kind of what I'm riding with here. I'm still not certain that Tottenham should be actually favored in this one. I think, more of an even plus 170-ish to both sides is pretty reasonable. I guess maybe Tottenham are turning things around. I'm kind of surprised that they're fifth in the table, but I guess they had a better start to the season than I remember. But I think it was a recent DFS show where I went through Fulham results with a healthy roster, with a complete team. And it's pretty noticeable when guys like Anthony Robinson are out. He was suspended last weekend. When guys like Kenny Tete are out, He was injured for a small portion a couple months ago. When their guys are out, they just aren't as good. But now they're healthy right now, and Tottenham, I'm still not certain about their back line. So I think Fulham are going to probably are going to look like the better team in the first half. And then I'm just hoping Mitrovic, whoever can score early and get Fulham on the score sheet first. So we're getting plus 115 on Fulham to score first. And then from there, I did look at Tottenham come from behind win because that's what they do. That's plus 700. I think that would also have both of our bets hit. So you got Fulham to score first, then Tottenham to get two. That would both of our bets would hit. But if you
Nice
want to
double down too.
yeah, that'd be a plus 700 if you wanted to go for it. So
Then we would really be in business.
we'd be in too good a business actually.
That's Adam's side parlay right there.
I might take it. I don't actually know if I
What do
want to
you
bet
get for
on.
odds there if you
I
did
don't
the
know if I
Fulham?
want to bet on Tottenham to win. That's the thing.
Yeah, Fulham to score first and then Tottenham to come from behind like that. Plus 700, plus 115. You got to be in a pretty good way there.
Well, I think the plus 700 implies that Fulham score first.
Yeah.
Like you
Okay.
can't put them together
Okay. Gotcha.
in like a parlay or anything.
That's
I assume so. I mean, we don't know. We don't...
Otherwise, if you needed a parlay too, you just chuck in that both teams to score no draw on that.
Yeah.
Who's to say though? I mean,
If you try and look this up, first goal Tottenham. Yeah, I don't even think the come from behind is even in this single game parlay. No, you can't even take it anywhere on here.
I feel like we haven't discussed Fulham a whole lot this season, so it's good to, good to get them in there.
We haven't. Now neither one of us took them to win. So, but all right, team parlay. So let's see, what do we got? We're up 4-11. We're 6-11 combined in the team parlay, but we're up 4-11. We hit three straight, I think it is. We hit three straight parlays, so we're really cooking here. We got a lot of matches to choose from. Manchester City, massive favorite this game week. I believe that's on Sunday. They're home against Wolverhampton. We got some other interesting things. Somehow West Ham are the second biggest favorite, even though are they fighting relegation? They're way down there.
That's an Everton thing more so than a West Ham thing. I feel
Yeah.
like.
But I mean, Liverpool are the third biggest favorite. So we got some weird odds. There's not a ton of massive favorites, a lot of even games here. So what are you going with your side of the parlay?
I just want to note that it wasn't so long ago that Adam and I were like, okay, the parlay, we're kind of struggling a little bit. We're not super sure, should we continue this? We're kind of, showing our worst side here. But now, three straight, we're up 400. The engine's starting to rev right now. So, to keep that in mind here as we get into the parlay. What I'm gonna maybe my favorite team to watch right now is Newcastle. I'm going to head over to that game, and they are going to be playing Crystal Palace, who just played Thursday. Tough match. They did get a point away from United, as I noted. But I'm going to go to that game, and looking at some of their previous results, there has not been a whole lot of goals amongst them. So, they played in 2022. They played three times. In 270 minutes, there was one goal. So that's two Premier League games and one League Cup match. So not a whole lot of goals between those guys. And then even prior to that, it was a 1-1 result. There's a 2-0. There was a 1-0. So you're looking back to 2020, but a lot of pretty big sample size there where you can kind of see that maybe we take the under 2.5 goals at minus 140. I just don't foresee a ton of goals between these two teams. Palace typically pack it in, and then looking at them overall, not even their past 5 matches here too, a lot of 1-0, 2-0s for both teams. So Newcastle really well drilled defensively under Eddie Howe, and I think that we're going to see the under 2.5 goals here at minus 140.
Yeah, I wrote about this one for my article. It'll be up on the site at some point in the next 24 hours. It is not complete though. But yeah, it just seems like I said this for the Crystal Palace Manchester United match. it almost seems like there's no way this game is going to go over 2.5 goals, just with how this game is going to be played. Newcastle are going to probably play similar to how Manchester United play. They're going to have most of the control of the game, and they're going to limit any good opportunity from Crystal Palace. And then it just depends on, is Crystal Palace going to get a goal out of nothing from a set piece, or I mean, their other best chance was like a shot from 25 yards out in that game. And is Newcastle going to get a defensive lapse by Crystal Palace, and are they going to capitalize from that? So I mean, it's kind of what it comes down to, and maybe that ends in a 2-2 result. But I'm with you on the under 2.5 here.
Yeah. Also, a big miss is Bruno Guimaraes too for Newcastle. He came off previous match. Doesn't sound like it's super serious, but it could be a couple matches maybe. I mean, he's sits right in that. I mean, everything goes for him basically. So I don't know if that attack affects their attack much. He's more attacking than box to box, I'd say. But
Yeah, the thought is that Joelinton is going to move back to midfield, and then St. Maximin starts up front on the as a left winger there. So
okay.
Uh, it adds something with St. Maximin, but I mean, I mean, when you don't have Bruno, arguably maybe their best player in your team, it definitely takes something away. So,
Yeah.
so I was also looking at under 4.5 corners in that Crystal Palace Newcastle match, but because when you parlay that together in the same game, it kind of reduces the odds. So I'm taking a different route. I'm taking Manchester City, Wolverhampton under 4.5 corners in the first half. That's plus 105. Put those together with Crystal Palace, Newcastle under 2.5 goals, minus 140. It's plus 251 odds. So this one is a little tricky because it's Manchester City. And, there's always a chance Manchester City comes out. They're just dominating. They get 8 corners in the first half. Something crazy happens like that. But I've kind of liked the way that Wolves have been playing under Lopetegui. I don't know if I want to say unfortunate to lose against the Liverpool midweek, but I think I took under 4.5 corners in the first half in that game. Was it that game? I did take it in the Crystal Palace match. I can't even remember as far back as that Liverpool Wolverhampton match. I did take under in that one,
Yeah.
but Wolverhampton have been coming out. They've looked pretty solid under Lopetegui. Like in the first half, that they're probably been the better team in a lot of their matches. And that's not going to happen against Manchester City. They're barely going to have possession. The hope is that, Wolverhampton don't get a couple early corners, and then Man City, they get in a spell of 30 minutes of tons of possession, and they rack up, 3-4 corners, something crazy like that. And then we're sitting at a bunch of corners at halftime. There is one prior Wolverhampton result I was looking at that had 13 corners in the first half. That's not what I want to happen here. Maybe it was against Villa or something like that. But so the hope is that doesn't happen. But I just think that Wolverhampton are playing well enough, solid enough defensively, that Man City aren't just going to have an easy time just racking up opportunities, racking up corners, kind of a thing. At least early on, that it'll be under 4.5. So there you go.
We're rooting for this game to be 4-0, but in the second half, something like that.
Are we? Are you rooting for a 4-0 here?
I'm just saying,
I'm
everything could
considering
happen.
taking Wolverhampton plus 1.5. I have to think that one over.
That's within play too, but yeah, they're not gonna. I don't see. I mean, unlikely that they lose by 4 here, but I don't know. City, yes. I mean, plus what did we say? 8. Those are some of the highest odds I've seen. Plus 1,300 at home for them. So, implied goal total of like 2.5 nearly. So I don't know. Hey, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what Manchester City look like tonight. There's a chance, they're back to normal and they're just cruising past Tottenham kind of thing, or they struggle. I mean, they struggled against Tottenham last season, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts for this slate? Any other thoughts? We got Bournemouth home against Nottingham Forest. You have any take on that one? You got Brentford at Leeds. Any takes for some of these battles near the bottom of the table?
It'll be interesting. The West Ham Everton match is literally the one that I think we should keep our eye on. Two teams in the relegation scrap here. How much longer does Frank Lampard get? Like what's going on with it's ugly for both teams. West Ham, last season looked really good. All of a sudden they're bottom of the table. So that's the one I'm going to be keeping an eye on. And then obviously, some of these other matches with implications. Leeds have struggled lately. They haven't won at least 5 matches. How long does Jesse Marsh get? They've made some investments now. So I'm intrigued by those matches.
Yeah, Leeds are trying to bank on. They scored, I think, 5 goals against Cardiff on Wednesday, and they're trying to bank on that repeating in league play, which obviously is a tall task. But the news I saw this morning, West Ham, I think they signed Danny Ings. It's not official yet, but it's the rumor that Danny Ings coming from Aston Villa to West Ham because I think Skamaka has like a knee issue he's worried about. Do you think Danny Ings is going to give anything to West Ham, or do you just think this is a whatever kind of signing?
Everyone's favorite blue collar striker, Danny Ings. If there's any guy who's going to do it, it's him.
Okay. All right. Yeah, he'll take down Everton here. All right. That's all we got for kits and wagers. RotoWire.com/soccer trial, free 2-day trial. You can look at all these beautiful colors and lineups on the one page on our cheat sheet. But I'll just run through our plays here a little bit. Yeah, so let's see. Can we get all of these bets? We got under 2.5 Chelsea double chance. That's a winner. Under 4.5 corners, Arsenal money line. That's a winner. Fulham to score first. Both teams to score no draw. That's a winner. Man City Wolves under 4.5 corners first half. Crystal Palace Newcastle under 2.5 goals. That's a winning parlay. So who's going 4-0 this week?
Let's keep the parlays going here. That's the fun part.
That's the only thing that matters. Okay.
They all matter, but when the parlay hits, it's a little more fun.
All right, Chris is riding the line right now. He can't go 1-2 again, or he's going to be negative money.
Hey, so just know that I've battled back in the last month. I was down big, and now we're positive. So
yeah, there we go. All right, that's all we got for the show. Well, we got DFS stuff Friday. We got more content. Whatever. We'll be back next week. Is next week games? I don't know.
Next week we have an international.
It's cup matches next week. Okay, that's right. That's right.
Is it?
Yeah, I think we got FA Cup next week, and so we probably won't be back, but we'll see. Maybe I'll jump on and talk about some corner betting, something like that. But thanks for watching. Chris, you can find him at CHROwen8 on Twitter. I'm at Roto Zdroik. Thanks for watching. Good luck on your bets.
Thanks, Adam.